What's up, everybody? I'm back, continuing on with the James Bond reviews. The next one we'll be covering the Daniel Craig films, starting with easily one of the best James Bond films, probably second to GoldenEye, Casino Royale. And this is kind of meant to be like a soft reboot of the James Bond franchise, where all the movies are a little bit more, not like the previous ones weren't connected, but this one seems more building a world here, little by little, as like the villains from each of these Daniel Craig Bond films are a lot more interconnected than we previously thought. At least we didn't come to that conclusion. Well, we were fed little bits and pieces each film, but it didn't culminate until we get to like Skyfall. And me and quite a few people at that time, I remember being so like, because I never seen Daniel Craig before. No, that's technically a lie. I seen him before, but this cemented his popularity as a star. But he's been in other stuff like the first live action Tomb Raider film with Angelina Jolie. I mean, that was probably like people's technical first introduction to Daniel Craig in anything. But Bond really cemented his stardom. This is directed by Martin Campbell. Like I said, Daniel Craig as James Bond, the new James Bond, Eva Green as Vesper Lynn, Mads Mikkelsen as Le Chiffre, who as it was announced last year that his character is reprising his role in a Hitman video game. It was kind of like a shared universe, apparently, that Hitman franchise is part of the Bond franchise. I don't know. It was just fun to see Mads Mikkelsen back as his character, because he plays great characters, but Le Chiffre is up there for a lot of people as their favorite, like that, and Hannibal Lecter is probably like people's top favorite Mads Mikkelsen's performances. We got Giancarlo Giannini as Rene Mathis, Jesper Christensen as Mr. White, Judi Dench as M, Tobias Menzies as Villers, M's young secretary in MI6. This is way before Ms. Moneypenny comes into play. Isaac D. Bancoli as Stephen Obano, leader of the Lord's Resistance Army group in Africa. Simon Apkarian as Alex Demetrios. Jeffrey Wright as Felix Leiter. Oh, here's a bit of fact I did not realize. Casino Royale includes a cameo by British entrepreneur Richard Branson, seen being TSA screened at Miami International Airport. The cameo was cut out of the in-flight versions shown on British Airways in-flight entertainment systems, and the Virgin Atlantic aircraft Branson supplied had its tail fin bearing the company logo obscured. Brazilian model Alessandra Ambrosio makes an unspoken cameo as a tennis player. So it's a nice little callback to older Casino Royale. Anyway, we see this movie has one of the best, movie openers. Like I mentioned, every once in a while with movies that I'm reviewing, certain movies that is well known for having great openers. This one also is on that list in terms of great movie openers, where you see Bond talking with this MI6. What's his title? Section Chief Drayden, who's been like I don't want to say double dipping in money, but dealing with enemies of the country. And the guy is scoffing at Bond because, like I said, it's a soft reboot. This is a new Bond in a sense, a new 007 in a sense. And we learned that in order to get the, I don't know how true this is in real life with MI6, but in order to get the title of 00, you need to confirm license, or at least get license to kill. You need to confirm successful kills of a high caliber missions. So Bond ends up killing Drayden's contact in Prague as well as him. And you see this brawl, grimy, grungy fight in the bathroom, and it's like it's an awesome fight. Not any kind of flashy kicks or anything like that. It's just like a straight up brawl. Well, you see some good hand-to-hand combat, but their fighting is like just brutal. So he makes his kills. He got the license of 00. He ends up sneaking in. Well, again, ahead of myself. We see we see Lashif meeting with I keep want to say Abani, but it's Abano, right? Abano, who is Lashif is like a private banker for terrorists. Abano entrusts Lashif with $100 million of his money to invest, but he ends up because he's so smart with money and math and everything like that, he ends up kind of shortens it so he can well, of course he using his knowledge of an upcoming terrorist attack on an aerospace manufacturer, Skyfleet, Lashif shorts the company's stock so he can double essentially Abano's money. But we see Bond and another agent spying. He's in Madagascar, spying on this bomb maker, and of course this fool sitting there constantly touching on his earpiece, pretty much signaling, "Hey, I'm a secret agent." So he runs and Bond chases after him. And this dude is some parkour expert if I ever seen one. Because he's hopping all over the place. He's really gunning it. I'm not sure how this part was filmed, but he is just running all over the place, hopping all over stuff. And I'm amazed that Bond is just keeping up with him. And he just, of course, there's some things that even Bond can't do. Bond sitting there just had to barrel through walls and stuff because he ain't hopping over some things like he's Jackie Chan and slipping through small crevices. He ain't doing all that crap. But he chases this guy through a construction site, causing like the bomb maker killing a couple of people in the process. Just at a certain point, I'll be pissed because if somebody try to make me chase after them, I'm just gonna be annoyed. Anybody would. But he ends up running all the way to the embassy, thinking he's gonna be safe. But Bond goes in there and just beat the crap out of him, the guy running the embassy, and like running outside amidst gunfire. He ends up killing the bomb maker and setting off he shoots some tanks that explode to make his escape. So he got the bomb maker's backpack and he finds the cell phone, which I'm amazed is in his backpack and not in his pocket. But he finds this, word ellipses, and utilizing, he sneaks into M's office. Sorry, bumped the desk. He sneaks into M's office without her knowledge and utilizing her laptop. She comes in and it's like, didn't realize at first that he was like using her laptop. But dude's a cheeky bastard because he's just like, I thought M was an assigned name. I didn't know it was stand for it. Like, utter another word, I have you killed. And it's like, wait, M's not an assigned letter? It's like I'm curious to know. But I love Judi. Judi Dench is so good with her dynamic with these Bonds. Like, first was Pierce Brosnan, and her, dynamic with Daniel Craig is impressive. And it just keeps getting impressive through the next few films. And she's annoyed by the fact that he killed the bomb maker, who they want interrogated because he's a little fish that helps to catch the bigger fish. Bond, she sees Bond, this version of Bond, as like a blunt instrument. And Bond, at this point in time, he just, don't understand between things that need a sledgehammer and things that needs like a surgical scalpel, if you catch my drift. So he utilized the words like, so you need me to be half monk, half hitman. But it's just, he has a lot to learn. He's kind of wet behind the ears when it comes to 00 status. We're in a unique position in this film to catch a Bond, not just the Bond, but a Bond in this early phase of his 00 status career. And because the prior Bonds that we are familiar with, whereas Pierce Brosnan's or Sean Connery's or Timothy Dalton, they are well established. So they are like, they had like a solid footing on how to conduct themselves in terms of being out in the field. We'll later see Daniel Craig get to that point, which is like a unique feeling and a cool idea because we've never been in that position. It's kind of like with Batman Begins, we are in a unique position to see how Batman got his stripes, as opposed to prior Batman films where we're just in the thick of his career as Batman, where he has the gadgets, the suit, the tools, the vehicles, and the established villains, somewhat. So it's just we never gotten to that point with Bond before. So Bond traces back the phone call the bomb maker traced back to his contact, which utilizing M's laptop, finds the call was made in the Bahamas at this particular hotel. He ends up going to his hotel, sneaking into the security room where he traces the date and time where the call was made, and just coincidentally it was in front of the hotel. I was like, the odds are all right. My kind of small gripe is just the fact that when I see that scene, the guy just coincidentally answers or calls the phone right in front of the hotel where the security cameras will pick up that exact moment. He could have been anywhere on the grounds that, or even not even close to the grounds of this hotel for the cameras to pick it up. It's just, it's one of those things that's like, okay, that's just extremely lucky or just written to be that lucky, because that could have been at any point where the security cameras wasn't picking that up. Whatever. So Bond not only beats this guy in poker, and wins his Aston Martin off the guy, but he ends up seducing the proto Kim Kardashian, his, the guy's wife, and he ends up tailing the guy to Miami, where he's meeting this new bomb maker after killing the guy he was tailing and won the car off of. He tracks down the new bomb maker, and who was planning to set off the bomb for Le Chiffre at the at this this aerospace area. A fight breaks out on the tarmac. Bond slips on the bomb gizmo on the belt loop on the terrorist as Bond is getting arrested, and the guy ends up blowing himself up, which is like a cool scene. Bond eventually gets picked up by MI6, who finds the dead woman who Le Chiffre, interrogates and then kills, because that bombing was planning on helping getting the money to pay back Albano. But now he pretty much essentially lost his money. So now he can't interrogate Demetrius because he's dead. So the only person left would be his wife. She clearly didn't know anything. And Bond, you can tell, and it's great acting here, you can tell he's, feels bad that this innocent woman got killed, but he learns of this kind of, I appreciate the stoicism, because a character like this need to be stoic. He had to learn to, like, okay, I gotta shut this off. I got a mission to do. It sucks. Didn't want it to happen, but it's one of those kind of things that is intended to happen in this line of work. So Adam decides to chip the guy because it's like, okay, I can't trust you on your own, so I have to chip you because, like I said, it's a soft reboot. Any other previous Bonds that she worked with, it's like, okay, or double O's, it's like, okay, I never had to chip one of my agents before because you're so, excuse me, because you're so, like, so off the leash. I gotta make sure I know where your comings and goings are. So she ended up chipping the dude. So, they come to realize, okay, now Le Chiffre will be desperate. He's gonna be in Montenegro, try to join this high stakes poker game because he says a math whiz. He's hoping to beat it and win the money so he can pay back Albano. But Em realized that since Bond's one of the best poker players, in MI6, she wants him to. She assigned him to join the high stakes game with like $10 million, of cash to be able to place bets on. Beat Le Chiffre. Her theory is he'll be so desperate Lashif will be forced to run to MI6, the British agency, for sanctuary in exchange for information that he would know, because he is essentially the banker to a lot of terrorist groups. So he'll be ideal to have in their care. So we enter Vesper, who makes this line. It's like, I'm on the money, worth every penny. It's like I said, I love the puns. You gotta have the puns, especially when it comes to these Bond girls. Vesper, who's British agency's treasury agent, want to make sure that Bond is working with Bond to make sure that he ain't doing anything, foul, or go overboard with the money and placing the bets. And they sizing each other up. Clearly, the chemistry is crazy. Probably the best in terms of the Bond franchise. Vesper and Bond, they're probably the best. Like, if there was to be a couple, these two are the best. And there's other Bond girls that are pretty good, great chemistry with Bond, but it's just Vesper hits very differently. I'm not sure it's because of Eva Green's performance, but Vesper is probably the best Bond girl in the entire franchise. And I challenge you to find anybody better than her. She's just so good in this. And the wit and the way she, pushes back a Bond, not putting up his BS, and she's kind of smitten with him and checked out his firmly tight ass. She is not going to be like Moneypenny or anybody in the past, where it's like just easily fall into his arms. Like, no. You're good looking, but I ain't, I'm down to business here. So they meet with that contact, Mathis, who assists in making sure they get what they need. And I love the funny dynamic between the Bond and Vesper, where they end up just mostly just messing with each other, but also it served a purpose, where he ends up getting her a specific dress, because when she comes down and kisses him on the cheek, he wants everybody to be, at the poker table, to be focused on her neck lining and not on their cards. But he also just messed with her by just, giving her a dress that he picked out, and just to annoy her. Well, she in turn, thought the exact same thing and bought him, because she's so good at sizing people up, she even got down to the exact tailored measurements and got him a suit, which looks really snazzy. I gotta say, I want a suit like that. But he's just like, I already have a dinner jacket. There are dinner jackets and there are dinner jackets. This is the latter. I often quote that because that is I don't know why that's such a great line to me, but that is such a great line to me. There are dinner jackets and there are dinner jackets. That is the latter. But she also wanted to mess with him because she, kind of take him down a peg because of his ego. And there's another thing. This Bond has a massive ego. Not saying like other Bonds didn't have their own fair share of ego. It's just different styles depending on the era. This Bond definitely has a massive ego because he doesn't think he can ever lose. And we see that come to a head at the climax of it. We'll get to that. But then we see Bond, he's at the table playing with the other people. I love this moment where he's ordering a drink, which will aptly name Vesper, which I forgot to check this last night, It's like, is there an actual drink called the Vesper? Is that like a legit drink? Let me look this up really quick. Yeah. Holy crap, this actually is a thing. The Vesper Martini. Uh, uh, Made famous by James Bond, the cocktail best known for being ordered shaken, not stirred, was invented by none other than Bond author Ian Fleming. The Vesper first appeared in the book Casino Royale. I gotta order that. I wonder if my nearby bar can make that. Cause I really want to try it. Cause I tried the regular uh, uh, dry martini shaken, not stirred, which is actually really really good. So I want to try the Vesper cocktail recipe. Hopefully my nearby bar can make it. I want to try that. Oh my god, I was want to try it so badly. Anyway, man, Ian Fleming knows his alcohol. But anyway, uh, uh, he orders the drink and everybody's like, it's like, I want to, make mine. It's like, and she just kind of gets a note. It's like, okay, y'all, everybody good? Can we play cards now? It's like the whole entire thing is just so doggone funny. Uh, 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 but during the break, after playing for 4 hours, my goodness, I can't imagine anybody playing 4 hours of poker. But in this being the break, uh, 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 they spent like an hour to like kind of rest up, stretch their legs a bit. But then Abano and one of his henchmen show up in Lashif's room and threatens to make sure that he wins the game. Otherwise, him and his girl will be killed. But Bot eventually intercepts, kills Abano and his men, which should ends the desperation coming from Lashif altogether. But but he continues on, and Bond figured out, because he's pretty good at sizing people up. He figures out that Lashif has to tell, because he has like a thing with his eye, because it's like scarred, and randomly he starts like weeping blood. But he ends up like doing this with his eye and finger, and that will be his tell. But like it shows that he's about to bluff. But Bond ends up guessing wrong because the tell was told differently. It's kind of like he flip-flopped. So Bond gets really upset. Like I said, his ego like would not allow him to like accept a loss, because he's been like the top of his game of like going through like training with like military and the British Army, and then MI6 leading up to this point, and the fact that he like losing is just like his ego is bruised. So he had to just like take a nearby knife and go to stab Lashif. It's like, my goodness, this dude just can't take an L. Like, it's like he never took an L before. But he gets stopped by Felix Leiter, who turns out to be a CIA agent. And knowing that he is losing badly, I don't know why you're involved in this if you can't play poker, because people should be in this poker game are like very, very good poker players. But Felix is losing like chips like crazy. but he realized Bond has like a better chance, and since he lost so much of the money that was given to him by the Treasury, uh, he eventually gonna be like he can't buy his way back in. Uh, but Felix says like, oh, okay, in exchange of letting the CIA take Lashif, we will feed you the money to keep playing to beat him. Because CIA and British intelligence, they're they got like a good symbiosis together in terms of same enemies, same goals, kind of thing. So Bond has like, okay, fine, he keeps playing, and of course, Lashif has his girl poison poisons Bond's drink, and kudos to Vesper coming in at the clutch, rescuing Bond with like the defibrillator. Now, this is one of those things where you don't need her to be like some kind of girl boss fighting like she's freaking Wonder Woman. She's feminine. She's like, like spicy. She's like intelligent, but in an area that she is good at, but not at every little thing under the sun. But she comes in at the clutch and saves Bond's life, and which the people behind whether Paramount or MGM, people behind the studio behind Bond kind of lost sight of that at some point along the way towards the end, when they start introducing the actual quote unquote girlfriend or whatever, and then give him a daughter and blah blah blah. It's so stupid. They really emasculated Bond, one of the greatest masculine characters in pop culture history, who is a boys brand. But anyway, he goes back to the poker game, beats Lashif, and like tells Felix like, hey, he's all yours. And Bond and Vesper celebrates, with a meal and stuff like that. And of course, they get very cozy with each other. Eventually, she gets kidnapped. He tries to save her, but he ends up getting kidnapped and then tortured. And it's like, I've never seen this before in a film, but she ends up, walloping his balls with a bound up ball of rope and just like, starts swacking at it. But then Mr. White shows up, kills Lashif, and spares Vesper and Bond. Bond wakes up in the hospital, and then you find out that Mathis is the one that tipped off Lashif about his tail, so British agents take Mathis away. Funny enough, we see him make a return in Quantum of Solace, which we'll get to next week. But then Bond decides, I'm in love with Vesper. I'm willing to, quit MI6 to live a life with Vesper. But after some time, Vesper, goes to handle some business while they're in, what was it, Italy? I'm pretty sure it's either Italy or Venice. Yeah, Venice. But M calls Bond, who informs him that the money that he won wasn't successfully transferred back to the British Treasury, and he comes to realize, Vesper's up to something. He chases after her, uh, and it turns out there's some gunmen who holding her hostage while Bond taking them out. Tries to rescue Vesper, but she resigned herself to death while she's drowning inside this like old cage inside this building that's trying to be renovated. And it mentions to Bond that she was essentially like a double agent working for Mr. White, who was holding her lover hostage, or at least threatened to kill her lover that she had. We never see this guy, and she was willing to do it to spare Bond's life. Showing that she did all this for love, but Bond, who feels hurt but has to cut that part of himself off, is like, you know what, whatever, the bitch is dead, doesn't matter. But he ends up tracing the phone call back to where Mr. White is, shoots him in the leg, and introducing himself as Bond, James Bond, before the credits end. Assuming he got, arrested. So, yeah, Casino Royale is easily one of the top 5 best Bond films of all time. Really, really good. Everything on the cinematography, the acting, everybody involved was just amazing. Oh, I do want to mention, okay, how did Le Chiffre get away from Felix Leiter? Where's the CIA agents? Why didn't they scoop him up? Like, where did Felix go? And that part was never explained, even after all these years. That part was still confusing to me. Where was Felix in all of this? And how did somebody like Le Chiffre get away as he did? It's just to be able to capture Bond and Vesper to torture them. It's kind of wild. Anyway, that was Casino Royale. Next week we'll have a couple of more Bond films, because we got at least 3 more Bond films to get through before I cover some other films before the October month rolls around. But leave a comment below. Let me know what is your favorite Bond film, what you think of Casino Royale, what's your favorite parts. And I will see you guys a little bit later, because I will be covering the final season of Naruto before we end up getting through Shippuden. That part is going to be very quick. You'll know why. But I'll see you guys later. Take care.